2021. Thank God it's over. No, I'm just kidding. It's been an amazing year. We want to just be grateful and thankful in our hearts. And to all of our partners, whether you're in a community group tonight as we're watching this together, or whether you are maybe watching this at another time, I just want to thank you. This year has been a roller coaster to remember. I was just waiting for Godzilla to pitch up here in Tshwane, because that would be expected in this year after famine and just craziness and world collapse and the Illuminati and everything, guys. This year had everything. If you were asking for variety in your life, 2021 did not disappoint, but the other person who did disappoint was God. I think He just so surprised us in this year. Many things that I definitely did not have in my planning at the end of last year just absolutely blew us away. And I want to really just honor all of you guys as our partners. So much faithfulness amidst a really challenging time, and just seeing God do incredible things in and through this church. So we're going to take a bit of time today, and we are going to reflect on 2021. Enjoy. So as always, here we are at our second venue for us as a church, Studio South. We had so many great moments. This is where we launched the church, and God did so many incredible things. It's been our home for a while up to this point. So 2021 kicked off in very strange fashion. Before we actually got back into the swing of things, the government took us back online fully. Not the best way to start the year. And then the one thing that none of us saw coming, in the week actually, the Monday that the president said, okay church, you can go back to 50s, that very same morning we got a phone call to say, long and the short of it, you no longer have a venue, and we have to be out of our venue that Friday, before we had one single service in person for the year. So it was a moment of panic, to be very honest. We didn't know what to do. We didn't have a venue anymore. We were homeless as a church. And we said, God, you really have to do something right now. What the answer would be, we had no idea, but that we would later see just the hand of God in this moment, absolutely.
I'm here at Doxa Deo, Brooklyn, where we found a safe haven for a period of 8 weeks while we were looking for our new venue. We were so excited because we knew God was doing something, and we really had some significant moments here in this space. One of them being celebrating the 25th birthday of Doxa Deo, which was an incredible day here for us. But also, we had a great Easter experience where we had different monologues and just an experience of the life, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus. And finally, we also, in this time, had our Zuid-Afrikaans hospital outreach, which for many just proved to be such a profound time of prayer and pressing in and being able to come alongside the medical community in our city.
No matter how old Hatfield becomes and how far we journey as a church, I think one of the moments we'll always remember as significant is how God just provided a venue. As we said in a moment where we were completely out of options, out on our luck, out on the street basically, and really panicking a bit as a leadership. There was such a calmness, it just felt like, in the way that God was leading us. Within weeks, an option that we never considered suddenly opened up. And we, as you guys remember the story, just a double moment of blessing, that a place that we would never be able to afford beforehand, we got for a third of the rent that they were looking for originally. And then as we were moving in, we had to shop at this place, we had to get it ready. And that whole project, almost a good 280,000 Rand all in all of the chairs, the technical stuff, making this place actually work for church. To us, that sounded like a lot. It felt like putting a big weight on a baby's shoulders, having to squat it out. But instead of the year that the family gave us to pay all that money back, within a month and a half, we had finished off that project, and it speaks volumes. Number one, as to the partners of our church and their generosity, as all of us gave faithfully, but also the Doxa Deo family. Many other campuses saying, we will add money, we will give of our own budget to you guys. Such an amazing victory. And for the first time in our lifetime as a church, we have a 24/7 venue to call our own. Guys, we are just taking a moment to reflect as a team together, just in conversation, and we just want to join you in speaking about some of the awesome things in the year. You're going to do that in a couple of minutes from now, and just speak about some of the stuff that we're really excited about. Maybe as we start, one or two sentences from each of you guys. I'll kick us off as well. If I just think of this year, I genuinely have the word thankful that just comes up constantly, because as I said, man, we faced a ton of challenges this year, but God was just so faithful in how he was carrying us, how he was just going ahead of us, how it felt like he was anticipating, obviously, like everything that would happen. And I sit back at the end of this year and just say, God, only you can do this. And I sit here and I'm like, God, you have been so faithful to us. So yeah, thankfulness, faithfulness in my heart. Matia, what do you guys think?
I think for me, I just want to celebrate community. I want to celebrate you guys. I think there was a lot of opportunity for us to all go into, as the world went into isolation, for us all to go into isolation. But I just want to celebrate you guys for pushing into community. I think, we're still a church in this time, and also just want to celebrate the generosity of our people.
Yeah, I think for me, church has never felt more real than this year, to be honest. I think even through some of the ups and the downs, in both personal and in the Hatfield sense of church, the body has never felt more real. And I think people just honestly loving on us and allowing us to love on them. So from community group, right through to worship, to new people walking into our building Sundays. I mean, literally from praying to worshiping to diving into the word, church has never felt more real.
One of the things that we were just celebrating is the fact that this year, as with last year, but just more frequently, we had these transitions between online and in person. And I just celebrate the fact that as a family, we banded together and we said, listen, when the going gets tough, we will be online. And when the opportunity arises to get back into one another's homes, I just saw such the value for me of community really banding together. When people had COVID, we didn't have to put some system in place because the community groups just cared for one another. So it felt like whether it was in person, ministering Sunday after Sunday, just seeing people praying for one another, being there for one another, or whether it was online, just having a good time, having our live streams for the first time, lots of mistakes, lots of flubs happening, but also just really enjoying ministry together as a church.
I think, well, honestly, I can just say that the first time we attempted streaming, as a church, we've never done anything like that before. We were completely out of our way. But we had just so many people that were so faithful in just serving in it. And we figured it out, guys. And I think somewhere just along the line, what I stressed about most, almost like just fell off the road. And I'm like, I don't even care about that. We're doing church. And that's what's great and what's special.
I think the next thing that we want to just celebrate is just people getting baptized this year. Guys, that's, for me, I've served now Jesus for many years, trying to do the math and then blanking out. It's more than 2 years, I'm sure.
I feel more than 3 because I feel 3 years.
I've rededicated my life many times during the planting of this church. But I think something that never gets old as a Christian is seeing people make the commitment to follow Jesus and us getting the opportunity to celebrate that with them.
Sure.
And I think if we had just one person do that this whole year, I would have said massive success. But it's been a brilliant moment to see people that have genuinely just experienced deep life change and deep U-turn transformation, and I think just celebrating. We're sitting just kind of off from the baptismal pool here, and just thinking in my mind, seeing these chairs, just people celebrating new life together. I think that's brilliant. Yeah, just maybe I want to throw one last thing in there. On our opening day, the venue opening, there was a person present here. I still don't know who that is actually, but not part of Hatfield, and just thinking of something like that, the baptism that happened on that day, it wasn't a celebration of the building, but that person, just because of that one day, saying they were so taken in by what was happening here that they gave 40,000 Rand for our project venue. And just realizing again, it's not about rallying and emotion and leadership, it's about Jesus working so powerfully amongst people and how that moves us. Something that's special for me is, as a church, we're saying that even within the Doxa Deo family, but in Pretoria specifically, our heart is multi-ethnic church as the vehicle for healing in this country and reconciliation in this country. And I think the first time we've been properly able to celebrate Heritage Sunday together, and not just online like we did the previous year. And I think just seeing
the faces and the colors and the textures, and just realizing that's the picture of Revelation. It's every nation, tribe, and tongue around the throne of Jesus. And so yeah, just thank you to all of you committed. Next year we're gonna go even bigger with that. And if you're a bit scared and you came in your Bulls t-shirt like like Jason, guys, next year we're gonna go full on multi-ethnic with that. I think something else that we want to celebrate is just all the moments of social impact that we, and I'm not speaking about the pockets of that happening, because that's the church, it happens every week. But there were also these moments where we banded together and we said, let's throw our energy into it. So whether it was the moment of unrest, when we were able to bless a whole bunch of pastors in a township, whether it was peas in a pod, or whether it was just going to Zuid-Afrikaans Hospital and making sure that every single personnel member had not just something in their hand, but had a prayer and had a word of encouragement, doing that twice. And yeah, just thinking of peas in a pod, guys, it's so impactful for me as we walked in there, and these little girls, they were so excited to show us, like, this is our tree, like our fig tree, and this is our room, and this is where we eat, and just I'm just standing there and just realizing this is the potential for what the church can be, is that healing agent in the city, and bringing not just spiritual lostness and systemic brokenness and all of this, but just pain, social pain, and just the fact that these girls are just desperate to have people just be with them, just love them, just show them how special they are. And I think that Sunday, just seeing our partners go out with us there, and everyone just coming away with tears, very, very close to just pouring out. I think it's beautiful. I love the fact that we can partner with them.
When it comes to peas in a pod, I want to celebrate Annalie. I think there's so many wonderful, impactful things happening in the city, and for God to specifically highlight her, and for us to then have the opportunity to partner with what she already started there, has been such a privilege for us. Annalie's literally given over 20 years of her life now to this, and she's doing such wonderful work there. And I know she really, really and truly cares about every single one of those girls. And it goes way beyond just giving them a place to stay or giving them a meal. Sure. They're investing in their education, in the whole life of that child. So I just want to celebrate that.
I think something that I celebrate is just that in this year, with all of its weirdness, we had almost 30 people go through our new partners process, and we just came off one the other evening, and I always think the new partners evening, it's a little bit of everything. There's a lot of fun and there's a lot of back and forth, getting to know people, already hearing their stories. Thinking of that, I think the second one we did just 2 partners evenings ago, and just hearing people's stories of faith and coming to the church and sitting there again and feeling so emotional, because I'm like, what this person is saying about church, man, I never want to lose that. I never want to lose that sweetness of this place has genuinely changed my life. And I think just seeing that, people not saying I don't want to simply attend, but I want to be part of the dream. And saying for me to devote myself, guys, I love it. So we're really trusting that next year, let's see if we can double that in faith. Go on, guys. So guys, something that I think really, if you don't realize this, I come from a big team in Doxa Bloem. A lot of us have been part of big churches where you've got a team of 20, 25, 30 people almost. And I think now, being in a team of 3, whenever you have a staff transition, it's pretty huge. And at the beginning of this year, Shay, my wife, obviously stepped out from her role that she occupied for the first season of Hatfield. And for 2-3 months, we had no one in that role. And I promise you, it was not good. It was like what the Lord said over Adam, it's not good that you're alone. It was not good that Mo and I were alone. We almost burned down the church. But I think, just to keep a long story short, for Gillian joining our team, and I think just the massive impact she's made, and I want you to hear this, maybe just from our side, is this was not simply an HR kind of exercise. I felt so clearly just the Lord speak to us in the first coffee that we had, and I just thought, what Gillian has in her spirit is what I want in the church. It's not even about being able to do the job or this or that. She can do that in spades, but I think there was something beautiful about the Lord will add the right people in all capacities, whether it's staff, core team, leadership team, partners, whatever person God is adding will add something in their heart and in their calling and in their spirit. And I think Gillian has been such a massive blessing. She's by far the nicest person on the staff, and I think everyone agrees with that. And we are thankful that God is adding the people as we go.
Guys, it was so good just sitting here and just reflecting back over the year, and I think it's just this phenomenal just experience of man, this is church, this is family, this is mission, this is ministry, and yeah, it really just is such a blessing. And we're going to take a time now and hear from the ministries themselves, from the kids, the worship, the crew, about what happened in 2021 for them. So sit back and enjoy.
Oh, hi, hello. Didn't see you there. It is time for a couple of really incredible dad jokes. As most of you know, I recently became a dad, so I feel I need to share with you some of the wisdom that I've picked up. The first being, my wife said that I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward. I know, it's hilarious. You're loving it. But seriously, what has that got to do with crew? Absolutely nothing. But I'm here to actually speak about some of the victories we experienced with crew in the last year. I have to say that we've just seen people step up and own this space like never before. I can clearly remember a time when Maya and I were like the people. Every Sunday we'd have to pitch in and come and lead, and there were a couple of other couples that really helped and came alongside us and championed, especially in the early days of Hatfield. But right now we find ourselves in a place where a number of people have actually taken up the call to serve our people well. And we rejoice in that. We are so thankful for each and every person that serves in this space. And we know that we don't do it for people, we do it for Jesus. But it is still incredible to see that we have testimony after testimony of our people coming and going, you know what? When I stepped into this space, I was cared for. I was loved. I was given a great cup of coffee. I was given attention and care. And the way people greeted me was just as if I was coming home. And we just want to encourage you, pray with us, pray into the next season, and let's really see people come to Christ more and more, come to know the family and the community of Jesus more and more through our serving culture. Thank you again to each and every person that makes this possible. We appreciate you.
Hello everyone, I'm standing here in one of our kids' rooms, and I quickly just want to take a moment to celebrate what God has done within the kids' ministry this year. First of all, our biggest victory, as I'm sure we can all agree, is us now having 2 kids venues, one for the preschool kids and one for the grades. And we've really just seen a positive response from the children and of course our wonderful leaders. And secondly, I just want to celebrate the generosity that we've received from our people and our broader Doxa Deo family. We now have TVs in both rooms, we have speakers, we've recently received a laptop from the Doxa Deo family, and so people have really come on board and supported us in this mission. And last but not least, of course, I want to celebrate our faithful leaders. Ladies, thank you so much for your faithfulness and just jumping on board and being positive with all the changes that have taken place. And luckily, we haven't experienced any load shedding in our kids' ministry. Like I said, it's complicated.
Guys, we need new people in the worship team. Honestly, no, I'm just joking, I'm just kidding. Guys, it's been an incredible year worshiping with you guys. We were speaking with the worship team in the week, and we were just reflecting back that when we started Hatfield, the worship team and the tech team had to meet at 5:30 on a Sunday morning to load all the gear, every single mic and cable into cars and take it to the OM building where we would do a 3-hour setup to worship for 25 minutes. And it's so worth it. And still, even in this year, in 2021, we faced some challenges as a worship team. And I so just want to commend and honor every single partner that served so diligently and faithfully. Guys, may we continue to press into worship. Can we pursue Jesus as a church? I'm looking so forward for that. Bless you guys.
Doxa Hatfield, just the final word from my side. The setting is the east part of the City of London, and as a bunch of construction workers are very kind of frustratingly in a state of boredom, just going through their daily work and cleanup, one specific construction worker strikes this metal tool that he's working with into the ground, and instead of hearing the normal it's just soil just shooting out everywhere. It's this clanging sound, this metal on metal sound suddenly. And it's, in the end, they realized not just a piece of scrap metal, it's not an old geyser that's been buried. It's actually a 250 kilogram unexploded bomb from the Second World War. What a crazy moment. And this is actually something that's happened so many times. This is the story that I read the other day. And they obviously, in a state of panic, clear out that place, because strewn all over that city, under layers and layers of history and literally soil, are these unexploded bombs. And they have to get this whole crew in to come and sort it out, because that thing at any moment can go off. And can I just be honest, when I think about the last 18 months, and when I think about you guys, when I think about myself and my family and my journey with God, and when I'm praying really for all of us, I have this dual sense at the moment that on the one hand, I really want to caution us, if there are some things under the surface at the moment that at any moment can just go off, take this next couple of weeks, this next season, as we often say in church, and really, really deal with God. Really sit and reflect, really seek after His presence. Allow Him to just come and address some of those things that are deep under the surface. Because guys, if you're not willing to say it, I'll say it with you and for you. This has been a crazy 18 months. And if we're not going to deal with what's in our souls, then the converse of what I want to say is that I think there is such potential in the people of Hatfield in this next season. I believe there are people on the streets of this very city at the moment that don't know that they're going to be part of our church next year. That God is going to deeply affect them. He's going to save them. We're going to disciple them. We're going to see people baptized. That we're going to take massive steps forward in what it means to be discipled as a city changer. That we're going to see the church move forward. I have faith that we're going to plant an evening service soon. That we're going to see just God work powerfully in and through us. But to do that, we'll have to make sure that what's on the inside is not an unexploded bomb, but that the Holy Spirit would be given the space to take us to the fullness of what He has. And I just want to read the scripture to you as we think about this year and its closing. It's Psalm 62 verse 1, and it says this: I am at rest in God alone. Salvation comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold, and I will never be shaken. And I want to just pray that over you in this next season, as we go into some form of rest for most of us, that it wouldn't just be holiday, or it's just putting down the tools, or we just taking a bit of time off, but that you would experience this as you pursue God, that you would just have your shoulders be almost pulled back and say that you're not bent over by life, but you are my son and you are my daughter, that your rest is found in me. And so I pray that over us as a church. I also want to maybe just for a second just bind us in, as we often speak in these moments as partners together, that also when it comes to our budget for the year, this is something that we take responsibility for. We take co-responsibility for this as a church. It's been amazing to see. We've had so much growth year on year from last year. And yet there's also the reality that the budget that we set together with the family, the growth target, we are at about, when it comes to October, at about 87% of that year to date. And I think that's spectacular still. Again, in a season where churches are almost folding in half, just seeing what God has done. But I want to ask you, pray with us, number one. But secondly, that we would faithfully give. I'm gearing myself up, and Shay and I and our family, that in December, when we maybe get a little bit of extra something, the very first thing I'm going to do is say, God, how faithfully and generously can I give? And I really want to ask you to pray with me about that and say, God, can we close that gap? Can we bring that hopefully to 100% and meet that goal? Because you have so blessed us. We want to be a blessing. So Hatfield, hats off to you. And I hope that you have an awesome end of the year. May we find our rest in God, and may we just have an expectant heart for next year.